Hmm. That's surprising.
Sure, good.
Yeah, usually everyone is there, but they maybe they're taking it easy because this is a
Yeah,
class. So let's wait. I mean, at least I wanted Madhukar to be here.
yeah. So I talked with him at 1:30 or at around 1:30.
Okay, he said he would be here. Yeah, you are on the WhatsApp group, no? That Shauryam has
Yeah,
created.
yeah.
Okay, Arpan, either you or Arpan, why don't you send a note on that? I'm not on the group.
Yes.
Okay, send a note reminding people to join. Okay, and it's about to start. Yeah.
Yes. Hello, apparently everyone forgot that it is online, so they are waiting in the seminar hall.
I just they don't read the email.
They are
Okay.
coming.
Okay, good. Thank you. I guess force of habit. Huh? It's actually
Yes.
good. I don't. I mean, maybe one of them. Well, I could have. No, it's too much trouble. You to get them to be arranged, and I know it'll be better. It can be more interactive. People tend to ask more questions there than on an online meeting.
Hello.
Yes. Okay. I think I'll start recording, and you should start sharing your.
Yeah. I okay. I have shared, I guess.
No, but I don't see your slides.
Now,
Now I
yeah,
can. Yes.
yeah. So can I start?
Just a minute. Why am I not able to record? Okay, you can start.
Yeah. So the topic of today's presentation is RNN
No,
verification.
just one moment, Anuraj.
Yeah.
Since everybody is here, I just want to remind you tomorrow also the presentation will be online, so people don't have to go physically to the class. And the time for tomorrow's presentation is at 5 p.m., not 3:30. Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
yeah, the topic of today's presentation is RNN verification using invariant inference. So let me at first demonstrate what is define what is an RNN or a recurrent neural network. So recurrent neural network is a type of deep neural network uh, that have the ability to store information from
Yeah,
its
sorry to interrupt you again. Yeah,
yeah.
guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to type it on the chat, and I'll be looking at the chat window, and I will relay your questions. Okay, so type it on the chat, or you can unmute yourself and ask, interrupt. Okay, either way is fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So on the left hand side, you can see this is a normal feed-forward neural network where each hidden layer is connected to a neuron in the previous layer. Here there is one hidden there, so it is connected to both the neurons of the input layer. But in case of an RNN, it is also connected uh, to the memory unit. The memory unit stores the uh, previous values of this X21 neuron for our previous evaluations. Uh, so this is the difference between a feed forward neural network and a recurrent neural network. Now, uh, what are the advantages of RNN over FFN? So RNN have the ability to capture contextual information from previous evaluations. So this makes them well suited for tasks like sequential data and sort of that. Uh, they are particularly used in time series or NLP kind of stuff. Now they are quite versatile and they have a wide range of tasks, including machine translation, speech recognition, etc. Now, we kind of believe that they have a high robustness compared to the feed-forward neural network, as uh, as they capture temporal dependency. So that make them quite more resilient to adversarial attacks, and they are highly scalable. As we know, for a feed-forward neural network, the input must be of a fixed size, but for an RNN, it can be of varying length, and this makes it more scalable. Now we want verification of RNN because it is used in various critical systems like speech recognition or health applications. So if we need it to kind of prevent the potential failures in that systems. Uh, so this is basically the idea how a RNN works. So suppose at the first time step, uh, this the input is 0.5. So at the first time step, there was no not any evaluation before that. So this memory unit will take the value 0, and we can pass on, and so that this V31 will be 0.5. Uh, as you can see, this V21 tilde kinds of holds the V21 from the previous evaluation. So you can see from that how it works. Uh, Now, for the further slides, I want to outline how the presentation will go. So I will at first introduce everyone to the what's the basis of RNN verification and what its query look like. Then I will show a method how to convert uh, it to feed for a neural network using unrolling. Then I will give a small recap on inductive invariant. Then for the main part of our presentation, we will see how to convert this feed-forward neural network into using circumventing unroll. And then I will show some results and have some talk on the future possibilities for research. So, so we defined RNN verification query in a tuple like this, where P is the input property, N is the RNN network, Q is the output property, and Tmax is the number of times the RNN is run. So, yeah. So here is an example. So here N is the network on the right.
Anuraj, how is this related? So, can you go back to this is Madhukar here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you? Yeah. So you said that we define an RNN verification query as this tuple. So this is.
Yeah.
Is this similar to a feed-forward neural network verification query? You know, what is the difference? Would you like to highlight this?
So in the in the FFNN case, this Tmax doesn't exist. So there is no notion of repeating the whole network in loops. So that's the difference, kind of.
So, yeah, and as a follow-up to Madhukar's question,
Yeah.
so you expect Q to hold good in every time step up to T max, is it? Starting from Q?
Yeah.
No, something like that.
Yeah. So here.
And you expect Tmax as an input from the user, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So here N is the network in the left. So P is the input property that up till 5 time step, the inputs will be between -3 and 3. And we want to prove that the output value will be always less than equal to 15. So we take the negation here for that. Now we ran this query, and we can easily see that this B31T will be less than equal to 15. You can follow the bound approach here to kind of here the invariant will look like this V21 will be always less than equal to 3 into T minus 1. So yeah. So yeah. So the for
Okay.
verification.
Anuraj, can you go back?
Yeah.
Why should OT for every?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess yes. So you're saying because yes, because the two weights are 1 and 1. So this the value of this at least between 1 and 5, it'll definitely be less than or equal to 15.
Yeah.
Correct. Because yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So what we will
I just want to stop here and then make sure that people understand the semantics of RNN, how RNN works. Is there any doubt here? Because this is important that people understand. There is a question here from Romit.
Yeah.
If the verification properties can be indexed by the timestamp, then what's the point of having a Tmax?
So That's what he's saying. I'm not able to read.
I guess, Ramit, if the verification properties can be indexed, I guess if I understand you correctly, what you're saying is if no, but
Yeah,
yeah,
means
yes, go
the
ahead. If you want to answer that,
yeah.
okay.
So
What he's saying is, why can it not be expressed as if timestamp is an input? I guess
yeah,
that's what it is asking. Of course, Romit has to defend. So if timestamp is literally an input,
yeah.
then
Timestamp is not an input. The
yeah,
number of times the
correct.
RNN is unrolled. We can say it like this. The number of times the loop is run. I can say it like that. That is that we have to input.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
So
I can understand. Romit, do you want to speak up?
Sure.
yeah,
No, I just think so. In this case, like Tmax is 5, right?
yeah,
So the reason the maximum number of the maximum length until your property holds is 5 is
yeah,
because your variables are up till t equals 5,
yeah,
right? So if you, I mean, so you can like Tmax is a function of the input properties, right? In like so whatever your largest
no, no, I think input property. No, no, it's
um
Tmax is not a function of the input property. You can say that this Q will be a function of Tmax. I can tell it a Q or P will be a function of Tmax.
right. So if you just have P and Q,
Okay.
then can you calculate Tmax from that?
Yeah, we can do that because means we means I have written here 5, but I can replace it with Tmax. Actually, that is happening there.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, how can you, Romit? How? Yeah, it's see, this behavior is over time, no? As he Anuraj said.
Yeah.
So there are the inputs are varying. So there is, unlike in regular standard feed-forward network, which captures the output as a function of the input. There's no notion of input varying over time. So here you will the input varies over time, and output also varies over time. So this property Q is capturing that some violation should not happen for every time instance, starting from 1 to up to the T max, which is like a parameter.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Are
okay.
there any more questions?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So
You can go
that's
ahead.
yeah. So the general approach, which is used for verifying the RNNs, is to leverage the idea of Tmax. So we will do what? We will drop the we will drop something like this. We will drop the memory unit, and we will duplicate this DNN structure Tmax number of times. So this is a possible conversion of this RNN structure to a feed-forward neural network structure. But there is a significant problem in unrolling because it tends to produce very large networks, and because of this can only be applied to small networks and can be evaluated for a small number of times. So, okay. So here I will recap on the notion of
Anuraj, can you go back to your previous
yeah,
slides? Yeah.
yeah.
What are you didn't say anything about this last two bullets. What is that?
Oh, means I told that the network becomes to
Okay, okay. You
it's
made
the
the
same
point.
thing.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yes. Yeah.
So I want to recap on the notion of inductive invariant. So basically, the inductive invariant is for a initial, it should satisfy two properties. So if I is an invariant, then it should hold for the initial state, and for any transition q dash. So if I of q holds, I of q dash should also hold. So this is the basic definition of a inductive invariant. So now we will come to the main motive of this paper, that is the circumventing unrolling. So what we propose to do is to reduce the RNN to an fit for neural network verification without the blow up of the size. So we will do if suppose this one from the right is the original RNN, we will pull the memory unit to the input layer and treat it as a regular neuron, input neuron, and add a neuron T that captures the time. So we will bound this F21 memory unit and with a with a function of T, and which over approximate this memory unit. Thus, this whole network will be a over approximation of this RNN. So, yeah.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
About what do you mean by over approximation? Why?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you explain why that's an over approximation?
Because the weights are we are just copying this RNN and making a simple feed-forward neural net. All the weights are same. We are just replacing this memory unit with a simple input neuron, and the uh, age weights are also the same. And we are putting a bound on this memory unit. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, because you're only constraining the
yeah,
memory, the value that the memory unit can take,
yeah,
and that and not precisely capturing the
yeah,
exact.
yeah,
That's why you're saying that's an over approximation.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. So now after changing it to a this fit for neural network, our query will also change. It will be something of the kind p hat, n hat, and q hat. So n hat will be the fit for neural network I showed you. So p hat will be this p, which is the original input condition uh, with the time step time between 1 and t max and I. So here I will be a but I will be the inductive invariant over this memory unit, and q dash will q hat will be equal to q. So here if we see, so here p hat will be equal to this input neuron will lie between -3 and 3. T will go from 0 to 5, and this v21 tilde m less than equal to 3 t minus 1 is a inductive invariant uh, of this memory unit, and we want to prove that all the values will be less than equal to 15. So we took the negation here, and t square is basically the same. Any questions regarding this?
Yeah. Can you, for a moment, go back to your the slide where you recapped the inductive invariance?
Yeah,
Yeah. See, this is a very general definition. I just
yeah,
want to make sure that the others also understand. So here you require that if T is a transition relation, then that the I invariant should be preserved for every transition. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay? But actually, that is not the case. That is not your requirement. You are requiring that inductive invariant, which is a constraint on the memory element, memory unit that you expressed, need to be preserved by T only up to T max, correct? So so this is a more general definition of inductive invariant than the way that you are actually using. Okay, so I hope that
it is the same which in the class we discussed about the loop invariance, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So it will have an exit condition.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's as though that the loop is runs only for up to T max, and you care only about T max. Okay.
Yeah.
So I hope that yeah. So I guess that parallel for the rest of the class, I hope it's clear. Okay. It's as though that there is a loop of this thing up to 2 max, which Anuraj illustrated in that unrolling thing. Okay. But the important thing is that you require the that invariant to be inductive only for up to
T max.
Okay.
So So our key assumption from this reduction from RNN to fit for neural network verification is that we are supplied with some invariant I which bounds the values of this memory unit with a function of t. Now, to make our method more robust, we need to include a step that verifies that the supplied formula is indeed an invariant. So we are lucky that this step 2 is performed by creating a feed-forward neural network verification query. So here is
by the way, I hope I mean for the rest of the class as well. So you with this for a single memory unit, you are actually not increasing the size of the network that is required at all, no, except for adding one input neuron per memory.
For any neural network with means for any recurrent neural network with any number of means memory, the size will be increased by 1 if you see that, because we are adding a means a neuron for time t.
Yeah.
The size is not increasing. It's
No,
constant.
you will be adding one input neuron per memory unit. Correct?
No, we are removing those memory units from there, right? We are replacing those memory units with input.
Correct. You're right. You're right. Yeah. So technically, yes, you're not increasing the network size at all. Yeah.
So let me explain it for the running example. So we assume that this V21M is always less than equal to 3t minus 1 is an inductive invariant. So for proving this, we need to construct a query like this, where P dash will be the P and this what we assumed is the inductive invariant, and Q dash will be the negation of that over the next loop. We need to see that at time t, this V2 and M will be less than equal to 3t minus 1, right? At time t plus 1, this V2 and M will be equal to V21, which is at time t. So this V2 and M, V21 should be less than equal to 3 into t plus 1 minus 1, and we are taking the negation of this. Now, the thing is, if this query is unset, then we have found that yes, I is an invariant. Else, I is not an invariant, and we need to define it. So this is a
just a moment. I want to make sure that the rest of the class understands. Okay, this particular slide. The important thing is by just verifying this for one time unit. To start with t, and then you go till t. Prove it for t plus 1.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that everybody understands that this itself guarantees that it is true for all time instances from 1 to t max. Correct?
Yeah.
Because that is there in embedded, that constraint that up to t max is embedded in p. Is that clear for the rest of the folks?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So it is, yes. Come on, go ahead.
Yeah. So this is the Z3 code which I wrote for proving this. So as you can see the symbol, I define the variables here. I define P hat, Q hat, I here. We asserted that this P holds the condition where V11 the input layer is always between -3 and 3. This Q hat holds that this V21 is greater than 3t plus 1 minus 1. So, and we encoded the invariant that V21 is less than equal to this one. So, we asserted P hat to be equal to P and I. So, so I encoded the same here. So I ran it. So it gave me an answer. So this is indeed a invariant. So so let's go to invariant inference. So in general, automatic invariant inference is undecidable. Thus we will use a simple heuristic approach. We will use linear templates. By linear templates, what do I mean? We will bound this memory unit with a function of with a linear function of t. Now, what we need to do, we need to estimate this alpha u and alpha l. So, for simplicity, we will just focus on the upper bound. The lower bound case will be always symmetry. So,
Yeah, just go to the pause here. So
yeah,
I want to make sure. So this is one important contribution of this paper. Okay, so that they show how to derive an invariant inference. Okay, so normally, as you guys know in the class, I mean, you also had assignments where one can come up with, okay, now this 3t minus 1, Anuraj,
yeah,
that you showed is something that you came up with, correct?
yeah, yeah,
Or it was there in the paper. So that is the critical part.
yeah,
So if one can come up with this manually, then you can prevent unrolling.
yeah,
But that's a burden, just
yeah,
like for proving loop invariance. The class, I mean, you had an assignment where you were supposed to come up with loop invariance, and as you know, constructing loop invariance are tricky and
yeah,
challenging, and that's what is being attempted here
yeah,
with some restrictions. Yeah, I just
yeah,
wanted to make sure
yeah,
that people
yeah.
understood that. Yeah.
So the first case we will be looking at single memory unit. So it will like we will have a RNN. In the whole RNN, we will have only one memory unit. So the running example fits the case. So now when this approach fails, uh, this process fails. The first case is we the this phi of I is set, which means the what we assumed as an invariant is not an invariant. So we can say that yeah, the bound is too tight. So we increase the bound in some sense by increasing alpha u. So the second case will be the proposed invariant holds, but the feed-forward neural network verification problem leads to that this phi hat is set. So this means that this invariant is too big. So we need to strengthen it. So we do it by decreasing the alpha u. So here is a proper algorithm for this. So this UB and LB is the upper and lower bound in which this alpha u can travel. Yeah. So while this upper bound minus lower bound is greater than equal to some small epsilon, then we do their average and we initiate a invariant I. So if this phi of I is unset, so what we will do, we will construct the phi hat using the invariant I, and this if this is unset, we kind of the property we have found the property is satisfied, so we return true. If this is not unset, we will decrease the alpha value by taking the by lowering the upper bound. Now, if as a whole this phi I is set, so which means that I is not a invariant, that which means the invariant is too strong. So we will increase the value of alpha u by increasing the lower bound. So this is the algorithm for this. So this algorithm fails if we found an optimal linear invariant, but it is insufficient for proving that the property equation is indeed set. Uh, uh, so one case may be that it may happen that it is indeed set, or it may happen that a more sophisticated invariant is required, because we are using just the linear invariant on a function of t as a function. Is this algorithm clear for?
Yeah, is this any doubts you guys have? I mean, maybe I mean, a simple, I mean, what's a trivial invariant of this shape? Maybe you can ask that. And can anyone? Suppose I want to derive a trivial invariant that is bound to be, that is definitely going to be true. You can pick the upper bound as infinity, correct?
Yeah.
Large value. But that may not be. That's the point. That may not be adequate. That may be too loose, like too to prove the property. That's why you're reducing it, you know, bit by bit. Yeah. Okay. So that's the point. I hope. I guess people understand that. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So the second case will be where the whole recurrent neural network can have multiple memory units, but we are restricting that for each layer at most one memory unit.
Sorry to interrupt. Okay, let's go back. So there are two ways. The previous slide. So two ways that this can fail. Correct?
No, it's the one way.
Because yes, because if indeed you've reduced it too small, you made it too small, then you will increase it so that you do get an invariant. But the only way it can fail is that it may be too weak for it to prove. Yes. Okay. Go ahead.
So in this case, what we are going to we relax our assumption. We are allowing a recurrent neural network where every layer can have a memory unit, but we're restricting that each layer can have at most one memory unit. So the previous approach can be extended for these type of RNNs. So what we will do, will prove invariance separately layer by layer, and we will see ultimately if the phi hat satisfies or not. So suppose if this is the original network, the memory units will be pulled to the input layer and connected with the original bits. One thing to be careful is that we need to go from input to output, as uh, the invariant for this V31M will depend on the invariant of V21M. So before computing the invariant for V31M, we need to find a suitable invariant for V21M. This fact here.
Well, it's clear to me. I mean, yes. So, but I have one question. So I can understand that the later you have to go from left to right because the invariant on the second, I mean, the one that is closer to the output node,
Yeah.
would be dependent on the value produced by the loop. Okay, the memory unit in the left side.
Yeah.
That I understand. But then you don't know the. But you. Oh, okay. You still have the property. Yes. No. But the property is only expressed on the value of the output. No. So when you're computing the invariant on the first memory unit that is closer, you don't have the property. So you will have to. How do you? Yeah, you don't have the property to check because that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a bit of a challenge, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So this V31 will be something like ReLU of V31M plus V21, but we don't have a upper bound on this V21M, so we are kind of struggling.
Yeah. Okay. So that's how we'll be handled here. Yeah.
Yeah. So so this slide is very important actually. So for this, what we do, look at the first for loop. What we are doing here is at before going to the first for loop, we have constructed the snapshot network. By snapshot network, I mean this type of a network. So what we do, we define some loose invariance II. By loose invariance, I mean the alpha value will be bounded by something like m into t minus 1, where m will be very large. So we will check for each if it is an invariant. If we found that if any of this II is not an invariant, we will ultimately return false because if for a loose bound like this, if we can't get a invariant, there is no point of going through this. We cannot construct phi hat. So suppose we for this loose invariance, all are loose bounds, all the memory units are we got the invariant for that. So what we are doing here, we will at first construct a in this while loop, you can see we will at first construct the this phi hat using this all the invariants, and we will see if this phi hat is unset. If phi hat is unset, we kind of verified our property, and we will be return true. Now, if the phi hat is set, what we will need to do, we need to define those bounds. So we will initiate a progress made variable with false. So for all the input neurons, at first what we will do, we will check that the range in which the respective alpha u's can move are greater than epsilon. If they are not, we will just go to the next hidden layer. Now, after this is done, suppose this range is greater than epsilon, what we will do? We will make progress made true. We will define I and make I dash and range dash. Now we will see if phi this sorry yeah, this phi I dash is answer, that is this I dash is a invariant of uh, our memory unit. If it is so, we will substitute this I with I dash and range with range dash. Else, what we will do? Uh, we will shrink our range. Shrink our range means we will increase our alpha value, because here it is making it too strong. So after this, if we found that the at the final hidden layer, the bound is the inductive invariant is not adjustable and it is not satisfying our property, we will return false. I think there should be some questions.
Well,
Hello. Yeah. So, any questions?
will you be showing an example?
Actually, I will show the the algorithm after this, but there must be some questions actually.
Well, I had. Yes, go
Can
ahead,
you?
Digant. Okay,
No, no,
Digant.
I was just gonna ask. So maybe, yeah. So could you just go over this a little bit, s- like once more?
Okay. So, have you understood this for
Yeah,
loop?
specifically, I got a little bit lost about I don't know what range prime is. Okay,
Yeah. So,
and how do you get what exactly is range prime? I
yeah,
understand.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And what exactly is range? Also, I didn't understand. So
Range
if
is the
range is less than or equal to epsilon, range is what? What is range here?
yeah. So range is yeah. I'm calling this upper bound and lower bound. Uh,
Oh, the
the
difference between the upper
yeah,
bound
yeah,
and lower bound
yeah,
is the range. Okay,
yeah.
okay. Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm means the value between which the upper this alpha you can move. I'm terming
Hmm.
that as range.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
so we will define. So here in this case, we will define the invariant, and we will define the range like in a single memory unit case. And
Hmm.
if we found that yeah, this is indeed an invariant for that memory unit,
Hmm.
we will replace this I with I dash and range with range dash. Okay. If it is not, we will just increase the range. Means we will shrink the range where the lower bound. So here, yeah, this this lower bound will take this alpha away.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So I guess one critical thing is that you are doing it from left to right here
yeah,
also, right?
yeah. We have to do it from left to right
So
because
from left to right, you enlarge. Okay, so from the loose bounds, if you're lucky, you were able to prove the property. You're done.
yeah,
Otherwise, you relax the range one at a time, one invariant at a time from left to right. Is it?
Yeah.
But how much, etc., is something that you will discuss later on in the next slide. Is it? So, or will you check each time you relax the range of one invariant? You will check, and then you will only attempt. You do it incrementally like that. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, something.
So this is the case.
Yeah, but I don't know, Diganta, you know, I interrupted Diganta. So Diganta.
No, I think I get the overall idea. Like if you go and explain this algorithm too big, then I think I'll have good grasp.
Yeah, but I guess one thing in your previous thing is you never go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. You don't. I mean, that's the kind of uneasiness I had in your previous algorithm. So why is it? So you always do one pass. Is it from left to right? Never go back and forth. Huh? That is one thing. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Because because the thing is, when we change this one, we need to change this one, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we cannot go back and forth in that.
To go further down and then change it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the actual algorithm. Here you can see we are taking alpha to be mi, where m is very large. So if this is not working, then we are giving up, because it is a very loose invariant, so it fails, we give up. Now we are constructing this phi hat from this, and if this is unsaid, we got the verification, we return it is true. It is sufficiently true. If it is not sufficiently strong, we go from we again pass over the whole hidden neurons, and we kind of defined. Now this is similar to the single neuron case. That's how it is redefining. Now here we are checking if this is indeed a invariant. If it is invariant, we are replacing the values accordingly, and if it is not, we are just increasing the value of alpha u by increasing the lower bound of alpha u. So this goes on and on. So it will stop only when means if this for loop is passed, it will stop only when it will get unset, or when we on the last memory unit of the whole RNN, we are not able to make any changes. Yeah, so that's it. I think it is clear now.
Yeah, I think at least yeah.
So now this algorithm fails when optimal invariants from all layers have been discovered. But these optimal invariants are insufficient for solving this snapshot. So a key property of our layer by layer approach is that we need the accurate invariance from layer I for proving invariance for layer I plus 1. So here we see that for each layer containing a single layer, finding the optimal invariant for each layer is straightforward. There is of no difficult. But we will discuss in the future slides that if there are multiple memory units in the same layer, so that is not that simple. So that's
but before you go to the thing, one question I had the previous thing is, how do you choose how do you choose epsilon?
It's a heuristic, I guess.
Is that?
Yeah, means
Madhukar?
Yeah, I think they try to pick an epsilon that works for the kind of problems. It's basically some heuristics.
Which means that's the other question I had. Go to the next slide.
Yeah.
So it is quite possible. I know that it tries to compute. So because epsilon is chosen somehow heuristically, so you may choose an epsilon for which there is no, I mean, even the optimal invariant that you can find may not be adequate or safe to prove your property. But that doesn't mean that there is no optimal, there is no another invariant of the same shape that could have worked. So this is not like if there is one optimal invariant, it's not like this algorithm is bound to find it. Correct?
You were talking of invariants in the same template,
yes,
linear
same
template.
Same template, yes. Of course, if it's outside the template, then all bets are off. That I can understand. Even within this template, somehow I have a doubt because it is somehow depending upon how you pick that epsilon you may miss. You may miss, even though they might exist.
So one thing means I don't know. One thing we can do means we can do like means UB1 is equal to LBI. Yeah. So that gives me maybe also.
I mean,
So that would be epsilon equal to 0 is what is this thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. You can always pick smaller and smaller epsilon and keep fine. Yes, that's what I agree. Yes. For any given epsilon, you could miss.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the case where we are generalizing our assumption. So in this case, in the given RNN, every layer can have means more than one or no memory units. So this is a kind of structure we are going to examine it first. So here, if we apply our layer-to-layer approach, what we need to find is bounds like this on V2I and V2, right? So in order to prove these bounds, we need something like this. So this, V2T must be equal to value of this one is less than equal to alpha U1, T1 plus 1. So something like this. Now, here you can see that this alpha U1 is dependent on V2, right? Also this alpha U2 is dependent on the bounds of V21. So somehow there is a kind of interdependency happening here. So this adds a layer of complexity that did not exist in our previous cases. So to more emphasis on this, so let us consider network. Okay, so it should be 3. I forgot to edit it. So suppose t equal to 1 to 3, these inputs will be between -3 and 3. Now we take q to be equal to that all the values should be less than equal to 99. So we took the negation of that 100. Now we took some random values like alpha 1 is equal to 0, 8, and we put the bounds like this. So after putting the bounds like this, we get v21 of t plus 1 is always less than equal to 8t. But what we get here is this bound on v22 equal to 0 is inadequate. So we are just required to adjust the alpha values. For example, by increasing 2. Now, what happens when we increase it to this v21t less than equal to 8t? So this change invalidates this bound. So specifically, if I gonna say is 1 less than equal to t less than equal to 3 minus 3 less than equal to this neuron, and this property does not imply that v21 t plus 1 should be less than equal to 8. Now, this example demonstrates the dependency between the alpha value and the complexity that these dependencies add to the search process. So, any questions regarding this?
Yeah, I just when I guess yeah, I mean the class I understood, but I just
Yeah,
want to make sure. There is a dependency, unlike in the previous case where you had only one memory unit
yeah,
per layer. There was only one-way dependency, whereas
yeah,
here there is a two-way dependency, which you need
yeah.
to
So
you cannot break easily. Yeah,
here
that's yeah.
here you can see this to find a bound on v31 we need to find a bound on v21, but
Mm,
for this we don't need the value of this.
mm,
Yeah, so that case is
You have to somehow
not.
solve it simultaneously. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
So for this one solution this paper gave us to use the mixed integer linear programming, right?
mm,
So there are two advantages of using mixed integer linear programming. So the first advantage is the MILP solver guarantees to return a valid invariant, or if no invariant exists, it will soundly report it. Another advantage is this: while using the MILP solver, we need to give a cost function. Now we can give a cost function that we can use to optimize the input. So if we take the cost variant to be the summation of alpha u minus summation of alpha l, so what will this do? This will give us tighter upper bounds and tighter lower bounds, right? So the main disadvantages of using MILP is that, so in order to ensure that the invariance holds for all times, we need to encode in the MILP query encode for all time steps from t equal to 1 to t max in the MILP query. However, in this approach, uh, uh, however, this approach is much easier compared to unrolling the RNN, because in unrolling the RNN, we are duplicating the whole network tmax times. But here, for a particular layer you say, we need to encode it for tmax times. So, is there any questions?
Yeah, can you elaborate on what exactly the MILP encoding here is and why you need Tmax many copies for each layer?
Because we need to ensure, right, that each time the invariant doesn't change.
Yeah, but so in your encoding, will T not appear as some variable at all, right? Because
Yeah,
so you'd have to basically encode it for each one of the values of the T's
yeah,
because T is being multiplied in, is it?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, I see.
Yeah, that's the problem, but it will be easier than unrolling the RNN, because in the RNN we will have to duplicate it multiple times, tmax and the whole network.
Yeah, so when you say it's easier than unrolling the RNN, that's just because for each layer you have assumed that you've got some invariant for the previous one, and then based on that you're doing an MLP call to find the invariant for this current layer. Is
Yeah,
that the case?
yeah.
Okay, okay. So
No, but
even yeah, sorry, go on.
no, go ahead, go ahead. No,
So
go ahead.
even that would be the similar sort of left to right kind of way, right? You
Yeah,
do an MILP call
yeah,
with Tmax many copies for the first layer and then for the second layer
yeah,
and then for
yeah,
the
yeah,
third layer. Okay,
yeah.
yeah, sure.
So in part means in practical cases, not all the layers will have a two means more than one memory units, right? So that will make it more easier in that case.
All right.
Yeah. So the next thing is how means, so we are unable
But
we
I still go to the previous slide. Okay, so
yeah,
the first bullet you have to capture, no matter what. In MILP, you have to introduce T as an explicit variable, and you
yeah,
have to capture that the that the whatever you propose invariant holds in every timestamp, right?
yeah, yeah,
We must you say you must encode. So that
yeah,
means that the number of what you're saying, I guess, I mean, trying to understand. So while that will increase the number of constraints,
Yeah.
yet it may, what you're saying is it may not be as bad as unrolling. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
May not be as bad as unrolling in terms of the number of the size of the formula that
Yeah.
you get.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. So
Okay.
now suppose we found an invariant type and we get this phi hat is not unset for it. So what we need to do, we need to somehow adjust our alphas. So consider this case. So if the current invariant is something like alpha L is equal to 3, alpha U
Yeah,
is equal to 7.
sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt. Someone who knows a little bit more than I do. I'm not an expert on MILP. Anybody else that knows more about MILP here, Digantha, or anybody else in this audience? Does it always? What is the okay? By the way, did you say what is the objective function here that you would that you would throw at MILP?
So it can be anything, but if we
Yeah.
put something like this, it will
Oh,
give
that's
me
the one. I
yeah,
missed it. Okay, so that's the cost function that you put.
yeah. We can give 0 also. It's no issue if we were to find some initial invariant.
But just like LP,
Yeah.
MILP, is it? Does it always find if there is a a
Yeah,
solution?
the
Does
solver will
it?
always find, but I think it's means it's kind of NP hard or something. Not sure.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if integer linear programming. I know that linear programming for over the reals is decidable.
Yeah,
Now, for integer linear programming is not even decidable. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So MILP is also, there's no guarantee that it will find this a solution, let alone an optimal solution.
No,
Is
no.
what I.
Actually, I wrote something called as a bound and branch method.
Yeah, Brown and Branch. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So
But,
it shows that if an optimal means solution exists, it will
exists.
give
Oh,
it
I
will
see.
give.
Okay.
But it may stuck in a loop if the solution does
Mhm.
something like this.
Yeah, okay. Mhm.
Yeah. So so we have found an invariant type, but it is this snapshot query is unset. So what we will do, uh, if the current invariant something like alpha L is equal to 3, alpha U is equal to 7, for some epsilon we will take alpha L to be greater than equal to 3 plus epsilon and alpha U to be less than equal to 7 minus epsilon. We will add this constraint on the MILP solver, and
Mm.
this will give us a stronger invariant. Yeah. This is clear for everyone.
Mm.
Yeah. So next, I have the basic results. So we
So
will
that's
begin.
like a
Yeah,
standard technique that all people who use MILP use, I
yeah,
presume. So maybe
yeah,
thought, yeah. Mm.
yeah. Because in the branch and bound method also something like this is applied with the simplex.
Mm. Mm. Okay.
So we what we did, we used a small network, and we use a small network and we trained on data. So our technique is known as RNN verify, and the one with the unrolling is known as RNS verify. So what we did, we trained, we uh, put it to set it up for verification, and we found that uh, both methods return unset on all the queries. However, the runtimes clearly here in the graph we can see that the runtime clearly demonstrates that our approach is far less sensitive to large Tmax values. So here you can see the RN as well as increases substantially. Again, in a separate
So
experiment.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So here, when you're saying that each runtime is an average on 25 input points, by each point you mean a network, right?
No. Each point means input.
So
25 inputs. I'm telling.
okay, so
I
you're
am.
yeah. So what is your network and what is your property? And in this case, because um, yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not sure. Means it's not given there, but
mhm.
it's just given they're taking 25 different inputs and they took the average run time.
Okay, because I mean, a run is basically just the input to a particular run is just Tmax,
Yeah.
a network and a particular property, right?
Yeah.
So that is why I asked, what do you mean by input points? Because I mean, maybe the property is in some epsilon perturbation property and around some input point. That would make sense to me, but that's why I wanted to like understand that.
I mean, I haven't read that part of the paper thing, but I assume that it is just some query which is, they don't even describe what the property is, do they?
Yeah. No.
Do they have some description of the size of the network?
Actually, what they gave was some
Yeah.
kind of, they are testing some kind of adversarial attack.
Okay. Some kind of adversarial robustness. And
Yeah.
what is the size of the network? Like in this
I'm
chart,
not
for
sure.
example. Okay, sure.
They gave means using they explained it like using a small network.
Mhm.
Not sure.
But I think they have some comparison with respect to the number of memory units in each
Yeah.
layer. Yeah, that they do. But one other question that I had. Okay, so I guess Diganta, your question was, what was the property, or when you say number of iterations, is that your question?
No, number of iterations is clear. It's just Tmax, right?
Max, yeah.
But when they say 25 input points, I was just wondering, what are these? Are these 25 different networks? Is this the same network for 25 different properties or 25 different
Same network with 25 different inputs, I guess.
25 different input values,
Yeah.
and then for each input value, you're doing some perturbation and like some
Yeah.
robustness
Yeah.
analysis around that point,
Yeah.
is it?
I guess.
Yeah, so that is what I wanted to understand. Yeah, that
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
all that I
but
wanted.
this 25 input points, because it will probably include the memory units also, which have been pulled to the inputs, no?
Memory units and inputs.
No. It does not. This is just original input points.
Yeah.
25 original input
So
points.
in means in the RNN we have nothing to do with the right with the memory
No.
as an input.
I got confused because in RNN, verify tool, because you use the snapshot, no? So you will bring
Yeah.
out your memory unit, you'll pull it back and put it as inputs. Okay, so when you say 25 input points, when you're doing with RNN verify, does it include? I guess it does not include those additional inputs that you add for each memory unit. I guess, huh? This 25 number does not include that. Okay. But one other question. Okay, my question was RNN verify here.
Yeah.
The tool has the MILP implementation also, is it?
Maybe because we don't know the network, right? We cannot say that.
Okay, so you don't know if they have MILP. Okay.
Yeah. So in a separate experiment, the tool is able to solve a verification query on the same network with means if it is the same network, it will have some memory units, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Same network with Tmax is equal to 180 in 2.5 seconds, whereas the RN is verified. The unrolling one timed out after 24 hours. So we used RNN verify on 2850 benchmarks queries on the 6 larger networks So results are given here. So here network XY is has X memory units in the first hidden layer, and the second hidden layer will have Y memory units. So one thing to notice here, you can see a kind of monotonicity for as the Tmax increases the number of, yeah, hello,
Yeah, we can hear you.
yeah. So as Tmax increases, this verification kind of drops. So here you can see 25, 5, 2.
So
These are
this
the reports.
5 out of 25 means 5 of them were
Yeah.
successfully verified out of 25?
Yeah, yeah,
And 28.82 is running time
yeah,
averaged over those 5, is it?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So
So when, for example, when you have 4.2 and 4.4, when there are more than one memory unit within the same hidden layer, so I presume then that means that they are interdependent.
in
Because
what's this?
if there are two memory units within the same layer,
Yeah,
is it necessary that they have to be interdependent or not?
yeah. They means by because when we start training a neural network, like so
So it's not.
memory units will be means connected to them with some weights. If that
Yeah.
is not means that weightage is not necessary in some way, after training the weights will be done like this because maybe
So I think
something.
it is safe to assume that they are interdependent in
Yeah,
these experiments.
yeah.
Okay.
So maybe the weight can be means resized or rescaled to 0.01 or something. It's very small. But then also some kind of dependency is there.
So
We can
then
say.
all of these tests is probably with this MILP encoding based method.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. So, summary of these results are
Just a minute. Okay, we still have time. So
yeah.
that one, let's let people stare at this a little bit to see if they have any questions. What is startling? What is there any striking thing here that you would?
Yeah, this one, right?
That is
Yeah,
one.
what is that? What does that mean?
So I'm telling you some sort of monotonicity is happening here. So it's breaking here. So
Mm.
it's just showing.
No,
So
I mean
what
the
is
monotonicity is breaking in several places, right? Even when Tmax 13 for N20 suddenly takes a lot of time and then it goes down. But that is
No, not time. I'm selling number of means it's successful.
okay, I see. Hmm. Sorry, you're saying something?
me?
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that to me is that it seems like it's the total number of memory units which is kind of the limiting factor because 4.4 N44 is doing significantly better than N80.
Yeah, because in an
Although, yeah, because it's just here the number of units is different.
because there are eight memory units, we are interdependent upon each other, right?
They're all
Yeah.
interdependent.
Yeah,
Whereas with 4 you have got two sets of 4 things which are
yeah,
interdependent, but the dependence between these two sets is only one way, is it?
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That is interesting. So it turns out that a deep but narrow RNN is easier to verify using their technique than a
Yeah,
shallow but wide RNN.
That's one, and also Tmax, of course, make a very big difference. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
you see, once the Tmax goes beyond like 4 or maybe 8 or kind of thing, and then there's a dramatic drop in the
yeah,
invariance that it can find. Okay, because the number
yeah,
of properties it can verify is dramatically decreasing.
yeah.
It's kind of an inflection point of the core effect. Yeah. So the longer, I mean, the longer Tmax is, you need more powerful invariant, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's possible, or it,
Yes, it is kind of expected because the bound on the memory units will increase very much, right? So it will be something like alpha u into, if we take up till, for example, 20, it will be 19 alpha u. Think of it in that way. So that will, the bound will increase, but in reality, the memory unit does not fluctuate in that way. In training.
Yeah, and that is a very interesting point in general, right? I mean, it brings back to Romit's question some time back. Like in some sense, if we had really an ideal method to find invariance in some very smart way, it would capture this fact that in reality the value inside the memory unit is never going to really be that like dependent on time or grow with time that much, right? I mean, with an RNN, you won't really like well-trained RNN, the memory unit values won't
Yeah,
just keep growing linearly with time, right?
yeah,
yeah,
Yet our bounds are doing that, and bounds, I mean, that is the sort of template that we're choosing. And in fact,
yeah,
here also the time, the more Tmax is, the more time we're taking. That simply because that's the size of the MILP queries are growing with Tmax, right?
yeah,
And that is also growing only because we have to consider this time as a variable at all, right?
yeah,
So if we had a kind of a different template, maybe that doesn't even take
yeah,
time into consideration, that could
yeah.
initially be, I mean, weaker and be harder to refine and so on. But I think that might, I mean, do you feel that that might solve this set of an issue where the time
yeah.
just
I think that's maybe
Yeah,
he should. Maybe we can reserve that. We
yeah,
have
add to the
5 or 10
end, yeah.
minutes to this future direction thing that he
yeah,
is. Let's see what he has to say. Yeah, but then also that's. I mean, I had a similar question. Okay,
yeah,
about this shape. I mean, ideally, like deep poly, etc. Is it useful? I'm asking because that, of course, depends on what was the kind of application that these benchmarks that they're comparing, that they are running it on, is with respect to, because the kind of invariant is very much depends on. I mean, this is like agnostic to the kind of application that you're putting it into. Now, if
yeah,
RNN were being used for some natural language processing or some
yeah,
LSTM-like thing, then you would want the invariance. I mean, you most likely they are dependent on some properties of the inputs over time, no?
yeah,
Yeah, that's. I mean, so that's why I'm wondering. I mean, I have no experience in actually designing RNNs for various applications, but I have some questions about the adequacy of this shape of this
Mhm.
invariant. Okay,
yeah.
and so yeah, yeah. Anybody else have any comments from the class about these experiments, or yeah, even general, when he puts the thing in at this point? Yeah. Okay. So please go
Okay,
on.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Madhukar here.
Yeah.
So one of the things is about this time is that once you have a memory unit,
Yeah,
I think you kind of need the time, right? The property becomes a factor of the time, right? So because this memory unit can actually allow you to count and remember the time, right? I mean, you can
yeah,
go on incrementing the counter and in some sense remember for how long you have been running, right? So I don't think you can totally get rid of this time in the invariant thing.
Probably not. But
Right.
is
Yeah,
that enough? I'm saying, I
yeah,
mean, obviously, if you say that, oh, as long as my inputs over time, okay, in none of the, I mean, they do not have a comma or something like that, okay.
yeah,
Of course,
correct.
time unit is critical, but I'm also saying that some property about your inputs over time may be also important.
Correct. But I'm saying that, both these things are there. One is to have, so of course the initial example is could be seen as slightly misleading because it says that there is some input, whatever the precondition for a specific amount of time, that the first to the fifth input are going to lie between -3 and 3. So even if you remove the time component from there and say that all inputs are going to lie from -3 to 3, you'd still need the Tmax as 5 to verify that this is going to be less than or equal to 15, because what the memory unit is doing is actually accumulating the inputs over a period of time. So the time thing will be important. Of course, another point that came up in the discussion was that, with stronger invariants and, maybe a richer structure to these invariants, unlike this, alpha t minus 1 and so on. If you have a richer structure, can you in general do much better than, what some of these experimental results reflect?
Actually, in the suppose we are taking the same approach for the LSTM. So in LSTM, we kind of be selective of what is to be included in the memory, right? So that kind of thing can be done in LSTM, I guess.
You mean a richer structure kind of a thing where you don't have a time?
Means not exactly, but maybe some selective inputs we can take a bound. Yeah, means the memory unit should not go beyond that.
Yeah, so Madhukar, basically this point regarding that you're saying that it is true that in general these memory units can indeed do things like counting, right?
Correct. They can accumulate things for a period of time, and therefore you may need the time component.
Yeah, but then again, as I think he's also pointing out, if you look at I think that when people are trying to train these RNNs, they try to make sure that the values inside these memory units aren't in some sense not really dependent in time in the way that they'll blow up. Like definitely there is some sort of accumulation of information going on, but it may not be simply in the sense that the value just keeps increasing. So
correct. Yeah.
yeah. So somewhere time will be there, but maybe not in this sort of a bound kind of a...
Correct. And I think we can actually, I think it should be possible to in fact, make a claim of this sort that you're saying that, if it's not actually trying to accumulate things, then it should be possible to remove time and get an invariant which can prove the desired property, right?
I also agree with that. Okay. Yes, some kind of, usually it won't be dependent on time, at least the training thing. It will be dependent on what are the values and what are the characteristics of the values that you have seen over time, and what is the essence that has changed, what is the essence that has not changed. And if that can be captured somehow, the summary of something that...
But yeah, that would potentially be nonetheless very hard. But yeah, I think that is the sort of way to...
Yeah. But whether you can even express them independent of time, that I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
So
yeah. So you started just 5 more minutes, and then you should. Yeah.
So these are the summary. So RNN verify terminated on all the benchmark with a median time of 5.39 seconds, average runtime of 48.67 seconds, and a maximum solving time of 5701 seconds. So the experimenters have shown that 85% of RNN verified time was spent within the underlying FFNN verification engines solving FII queries, that is finding invariants. So this indicates that as our FFNN verification technology improves, our approach will become significantly more scalable. Now, for about 67% of the benchmarks, RNN verify proved that the RNN was robust around the tested count. For the remaining 931 benchmark, the results are unconclusive, and we do not know whether the network is vulnerable or whether more sophisticated invariants are needed to prove robustness. This demonstrated majority of tested benchmarks, the linear template proved useful.
Yes, but there's still 33% for which
Yeah, yeah. So, so the point which I made, the RNN verify could generally prove fewer instances with larger values of Tmax. This is because the linear bounds afforded by our linear invariance becomes more loose as T increases. So these are the future research possibilities.
So what are gated recurrent units?
Yeah, I mean it's a more generalized kind of LSTM, I guess. I kind of forgot it. Yeah.
So I think it's like a slightly more simplified version of an LSTM, right?
I see.
Because it will be more selective in taking the what to be taken in the memory units.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's all.
Yeah. Well, good. Very. Yeah. So let's give. No. First, any questions from anybody? I mean, you don't have to feel shy. Okay, I know if there are usually more questions when you're physically there, so it's a little bit harder to ask questions in an online setting. But nonetheless, any questions that you have. So, are there any in the chat? There's nothing. Okay. Yeah, this was a very good talk. I learned because I had read the paper a long time ago, but I had not read it recently. So I got a lot out of it. And let's thank Anuraj and Madhukar for the guidance and things. So
Yeah, thanks.
yeah, and here I don't hear
Thank
clapping. Clapping. Oh, Romit. Oh, Romit he doesn't have a question. Thank you for the presentation. That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And Shubman, you're all set for tomorrow.
Yeah, we will
Okay.
get this.
What is the paper being presented tomorrow? I'm sorry.
It is. Oh, go ahead, Diganta.
So this is this planet paper. This is the.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah.
We start at 5.
Yeah, 5 tomorrow.
I
That
think
is
that's
good.
what I'm doing. Is there? No, the reason 5 I chose Madhukar. I don't know,
Yeah.
Madhukar. You Friday. You have told me that's a little bit hard for you. So
Correct.
that's why,
But I should be able to, maybe listen to.
that was one of the
some it.
reasons I put it till 5. I hope people can accommodate, okay, and then show up to encourage the speaker with questions. And I'm really hoping, because I've been quite happy with the effort that people have put in so far, and the quality of presentations. So I should, and I want the people to keep up with that. Yeah, because these papers, some of them are, some of you are presenting it for the first time, and you have spent a lot of time. I appreciate that. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.